Hey YouTube, how's it going? This is Mike. I recently ran across some videos on YouTube that I'm kind of concerned about. I'm sure some of you that look at art-related videos may also have may have stumbled across these. Somebody sits down, they have a white piece of paper, they sit down with a pencil, they start to draw. And everything is perfect. They start with an eye or some like little detail, and they just and the whole thing just starts to explode into this perfect drawing, proportionally, compositionally, structurally, any sort of art terminology that you want to talk about as far as great fundamental drawing. This drawing is it, and they're doing it whack right out of the top of their head. It appears as though they're using no tools. It appears as though they have this high ability, when in fact that's not true. They are not fundamentally talented. They are not able to create what it is that they're putting out there that they can, or giving the impression that they can. These people are trying to con individuals on YouTube and or the public in general. They're trying to make it look like they are a great artist, when in fact they aren't. And what do I care? I could care less what they do. I could tell you how they do it if you cared to know. It's not that difficult. You go in there with a white piece of paper and a 9H pencil, which is a very heavy leaded pencil, and you could draw that out, and you get a light source that's very intense. That light source on the white paper is going to create this washout of all these very faint lines that I would create with my 9H pencil. And therefore, to the camera, it looks like a white piece of paper, but in reality, it isn't. And it's one of those things where, I could care less personally. I could care less if somebody wants to try to con someone and make themselves look like a world-class artist when in fact they're not. It doesn't bother me. I don't care. But here's where I do care. When I've got a student, I teach high school. I get a high school freshman who comes in here. And this 9th grade kid comes in and they want to draw. I want to draw like I saw on YouTube. I want to be able to draw an eye and just make the whole head explode and look perfect. Not physically explode, but the drawing just develops as I create from one point outward. That's technically incorrect. These people that are drawing that way are teaching bad technique. They're teaching bad fundamentals. They're teaching bad practice. They're not necessarily teaching you how to do it, but you're learning through observation. And that's exactly what's happening with some of these videos on YouTube, and it's wrong. It's wrong because it's bad practice. It's bad technique. And as an art teacher, the last thing that I would want is for my student to come into me and say, I want to draw this way because that's the way I've seen people draw, and me have to correct these mistakes. Now, anyone that knows anything about coaching also will tell you that if you start to do techniques wrong, it will take you 10 times the amount of time of repractice doing it the correct way before you correct that bad technique. So I've got to go back and do 10 times the amount of work in damage control because of these con type videos on YouTube. But that's not the point of this. The point is, I want to get across some good technique. Alright, here's an example of my work so you get an idea of what I can do. This drawing is called Demo. It's behind glass, and so it's got a little bit of a glare with the lights and everything behind it, but it gives you a basic idea of what it is that I do. This is a color pencil drawing, and it's taken me years to master color pencil and drawing and this type of ability. You're talking about, junior high, high school careers. You're talking about 4.5 years of college and 8 years that I've been out of college. And I'm drawing on average of a half an hour, 45 minutes a night to perfect this, to get to this ability. And again, if you use these techniques that I'm about to teach, you too can master that. Now, if you don't think this is any good, if you don't think that this is very realistic, then don't buy into my technique. But if you do feel that this is any good, then hopefully that gives my my drawing a little bit of validation. A piece of white paper, and there's nothing written on it, just a piece of computer paper here. And I've got a book image here. This is a Kurt Cobain. As I draw this image, I could use any source. I mean, drawing one thing is the same as drawing anything else. I'm just going to draw this quick sketch of Kurt Cobain. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a gesture. This gesture is going to be basically a quick sketch. This is going to basically give me an idea of where I'm going to go, where his head's going to go, where his face is going to go. His face is really flat here. His eyes are right in here. His nose goes parallel to this line. So I sketch those types of things in there. Where his hand goes, holding the cigarette there. Then the arm there. It's kind of hard to see with that black jacket, but that's kind of where that should go. So then we start with our gesture. Really quick, really easy. From there, I'm going to start to perfect things a little bit. Start to break it down a little bit more. I'm going to keep all of these things parallel. So if I want to move the face so I can see, the faces next to each other, I might move some of this stuff around. I'm going to continue to work on this, and in a second I'll show you kind of as I go. It's just too much time. I've got to think about a couple different things here. I've got to think a little bit about my lights, my darks, my tones, as well as the edges. I build up textures, I build up tones, I'm building all these things up. I've got to sharpen my pencil. A lot of these little details in here are created with an eraser. Sometimes artists see the eraser as a sign of weakness or something like that. Well, it's all tools. I mean, you got to know how to use your tools. You got to know how to use your fingers. You got to know how to use your eraser. I'll put this over a second. If I put them at a 90-degree angle, then they'll make everything look flat. Whereas if I put them at a more extreme angle, then it'll give it depth. And that's kind of where I'm going. Alright folks, it's just that easy. Number one, you start with your gesture. The gesture is the skeleton. The drawing is the meat of the work. So you got to start with that skeleton first. Like for example, in this work, I start with a quick gesture drawing, the whole thing. Then I break it down into pieces. Then I start to add the tones and the textures and the colorations in this case. In the drawing that I was working on earlier, start with that gesture. Then I work on the tones, build those tones up. And then sometimes taking those tones away. This will help your drawing a little bit. And if you enjoyed this, if you enjoy the message that I've got, and you enjoy the artwork that I produce, subscribe to the page. Take a look at what I'm doing. And it's been a pleasure to hopefully get to know you through this wild and wacky media we call YouTube. See ya.